Hello everyone, my name is Kastiel-Katz and I'm the CEO of the Chosen One Egg Donation Agency. I'm very excited to have today Rabbi Segelman for Puah. And we're going to talk a little bit about halachot, about why it's important to have a Puah supervision and egg donation agency. Hello Rabbi Segelman, how are you today?
Amazing. Absolutely wonderful. It's
It's
a pleasure to be here with you today, Talia.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. Can you please let us know what is Puah? Where is it located? What Puah do for people, for Jewish people?
Sure. Puah is an organization that began close to 40 years ago in Israel, and it really began as a response to the infertility scene in the world when IVF was becoming available to the public. And as you mentioned, there's so many halachot, there's so many different questions that have to do with Jewish law and fertility. And Puah began as an organization to service the Jewish community with all of the answers that they have to their difficult questions. Now, fast forward all these years, Puah has become an international organization where the main Puah is in Eretz Yisrael, is in Israel, in Yerushalayim. But we have opened and thank God, have successful branches in the United States. We have a representative in New York. I'm in Los Angeles. We have an office, an active and vibrant office in Mexico. We have representation in France, Australia. So thank God, all across the world, really there's a very beautiful Puah presence to help the Jewish community with all of their fertility needs.
But your supervision going to every country in the world.
We have all across the world. We have supervision, we have supervisors, yes, in Europe, in Israel, in the States, in South America, really everywhere that there are Jewish communities and there are Jewish people who need fertility assistance. Puah will do what we can to be able to help you in your fertility needs.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for your service and to help so many Jewish from all over the world. It's very important. Many years ago, the Rabbanim have machlokot between if to take a Jewish egg donor or non-Jewish egg donor. What is your thought about what you think people need to do, have to do?
Wow.
Regarding the baby, if the donor is a Jewish and the carrier mom or the surrogate is a Jewish, the baby is a Jewish or not?
Talia, you're asking the not $1 million question, the $100 million question. How does halacha, how does Jewish law define motherhood? As we know, Orthodox Judaism practices matrilineal descent, which means that you are Jewish if your mother is Jewish. So it should be a very simple conversation. Are you Jewish? You look at your mother. If your mother's Jewish, then the baby's Jewish. However, as we both know, and as I'm sure the listenership is aware, the moment that we complicate motherhood, the moment we're able to say that motherhood could be one of two things. It could either be a genetic mother, because the eggs are coming from a Jewish woman, or a carrier, the woman who is the gestational carrier, the woman who's not the biological or the genetic mother, but she's the one that's actually carrying the baby. So perhaps that is the mother. She is the mother. And once we have a non-Jewish component introduced to this situation and this scenario, in other words, if you have a non-Jewish carrier, Jewish eggs, but a non-Jewish gestational carrier, non-Jewish surrogate or gestational carrier, GC. So perhaps the non-Jewish woman who's carrying the baby and gives birth to the baby, perhaps she is the mother, in which case the baby may not be Jewish. And conversely, if you have a Jewish woman carrying the babies, but the eggs originated in a non-Jewish woman, so maybe the biological relationship, the genetic relationship that the woman has with those eggs is what creates motherhood. They say in the name of Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, who was one of the great halachic decisors and authorities in Jerusalem, Rabbi Shlomo Zalman apparently said to someone that out of all of the questions in halacha and Jewish law, I can find you a source in the Talmud, writings, a primary source to help answer this question. Any question at all, with one exception. Who is the mother? Who is the mother? When we're dealing with an egg donation or a surrogate, who is the mother? Rabbi Shlomo Zalman felt that we don't have enough Talmudic evidence to conclude and conclusively decide who is the mother. And therefore, many cases where couples come to us, come to Puah for help, and they need an egg donor, for whatever reason, often we'll recommend taking a Jewish egg so that any way you slice it, whether or not the gestational carrier, here we called it the intended parents, the Jewish couple, they're going to carry the baby, they're Jewish, and if the egg is Jewish, so then either way you look at it, whatever side of the of the argument you subscribe to, in this situation, the baby will be Jewish. And therefore, the baby doesn't have to undergo a conversion. And sometimes we will do that, a conversion, a special gerus, out of doubt, because since we don't know who in fact the mother is, and not only will we avoid a conversion, but also the father, the husband of this couple, will fulfill the mitzvah, the commandment of Puah. There's a commandment that a couple has to have a baby, which is specifically on the husband. The woman has other mitzvahs. The man has his mitzvah of Puah, of being fruitful and multiplying. And if the baby is not Jewish and has to have a gerus, a gior, a conversion, so it's very difficult to be able to explain that the father would also fulfill the mitzvah of Puah, despite the fact that there was a conversion. That's difficult to understand. But if the baby's Jewish, even if he's not the genetic parent, although his sperm will be there, so he is the genetic parent. Yeah. But even though his wife is not the genetic parent, nevertheless, since a Jewish baby was born, he will fulfill the mitzvah.
And let's talk about the sperm. It's important to have supervision for the sperm as well.
Yeah. So when we talk about supervision, Puah supervision is one of the most amazing services that we offer to the Jewish community. And we have supervisors, Jewish religious women in the labs, to make sure that there are no mix-ups, there are no issues with genetic material which is being brought from one place. As you know, a lab can be very busy, bringing the sperm from here to there, the egg from here to there. We have our eyes, our special religious Jewish eyes on the genetic material at every point in time, from the moment it comes into the lab until it enters the woman's body in a transfer.
We have right now a case in Israel. Have a problem there. They mix babies, and and this is why I recommend my intended parents to you guys. If you're religious or not, supervision is to make you to feel comfortable in this process. Yeah. You cannot go to the lab. You don't know what's going on there. I want to hope the all labs in America, they are the best and good, and they have no problem there. But to have another eye, even if you're not religious, can make you to feel the quiet in this process.
Yeah, absolutely.
And kosher, if you are looking for that. I called you a couple of years ago, and I said, Rabbi, I want to open egg bank, but I want to do it halachali egg bank. I want to do supervision, and he was very excited and said, Talia, it's an amazing idea. We have a lot of cases together. Your mashgichot, they are angels that come in for the retrieval day and check the donor. I know it was a little bit a problem in New York, but here we are agree. The mashgicha need to go to the donor to check her ID. We send you guys before the teuda for the Rabbi Segelman for Beit Din. We send you the ID for the donor. Why do you think it's important first, the mashgicha, to check if this is the same donor?
I think it's so important. I think it's so important because you just told your listenership that whether you're religious, whether you're not religious, there should be a certain sense of tranquility, of calmness in such a turbulent scenario, in such a turbulent situation of not being able to have your own children with your own genetic material. That is so difficult for a couple to overcome. Now, we want to make their journey as easy and as seamless as possible. That's why we work together, to be able to refer patients to you, to find the eggs, to have it with supervision. I mean, that relationship really makes their journey so much easier, and it gives them direction, and they know that they're being taken care of. Part of giving them that extra level of tranquility and calmness is knowing that the donor that they specifically chose is going to be the one whose eggs they will eventually accept. Like the supervision in the labs, we never will actually think that a doctor is malicious or is a criminal and would ever mix up genetic material. Heaven forbid, but mistakes happen. Mistakes happen. And on paperwork, this one was checked. Maybe she specifically hired this donor, but something happened in the computer, or the wrong paper was printed and given out, and sure enough, another donor shows up. And she says, wait a minute, well, how do I know, since it's all anonymous, because your donors are anonymous. So the intended parent will see a picture, but even at the time of the retrieval, they don't know, they don't see each other. So what we want to do with the supervision is to ensure that the donor that they looked into, that they reviewed, that they are comfortable with, is in fact the donor that is going to be harvesting the eggs, being fertilized with the husband's sperm, and then eventually for the embryo transfer, it's all going to be the same person.
I want to thank you about this, because it was, we spoke about this a lot, and you was agree with me that the mashgichot need to go and check if this is the same donor, and it's very important. Can you give us more details, please, to the people there? When we do the retrieval, what the mashgichot do exactly? What you do with the eggs? How you seal the eggs? Who can open the eggs?
Very good question. Let's just talk about, you mentioned the sperm. When the sperm comes in, if the sperm is going to be frozen, it should be brought in and given over with supervision, and then it's frozen. We can talk about that in a moment. But let's just talk about the egg retrieval. Our mashgichot come, they, again, as we mentioned, they make sure that the donor is in fact the donor who the couple is interested in. They're the ones that they hired, and the one that was interviewed by the Beit Din. Beyond that, they are present in the operating room, or just beyond the operating room, to see when the eggs are harvested and then brought into the lab, where no one goes, meaning it's off limits. The only people that are there are the embryology team and our mashgichot. So our mashgichot are there in the lab, and they see the eggs being worked on, being matured, being developed. If there's sperm, then being fertilized. We're watching all of that, and even the fact that there's another set of eyes gives the embryology team a little bit of a kick to make sure that they're really doing the best job that they possibly could. After the embryology team is finished fertilizing the eggs or maturing whichever follicles were harvested for, let's say, an egg bank, and not a couple. Let's say it's going to be frozen as a follicle, as an egg. So then, what it's put into, first they put it into different places have different machinery. So let's just be as global as possible. They'll put it into some type of incubator that will be monitored throughout the next 7 days. The incubator is often a compartment that can be sealed off with tape. And we have special tape that says Puah, and we tape the incubator closed, and the tape, if it's ever lifted up, it says void. So when they when they close the incubator and they put the embryo into that incubator, and we tape it, so they're not going to take it out for another day or so. But we know that we have to come back in a day or so, whatever the schedule is, and they will not open that incubator unless we are there. Amazing. And if we do come and we see that the tape was lifted, so then we have major issues. Thank God we have never had such an issue where we come to an embryo and we see that the tape has been lifted, and therefore we know that someone tampered with this incubator. That has never happened, thank God. But we're able to know that it has been left alone, not opened, not compromised in any way, and as such, the 7 days of checking, they do their thing. The embryologists do their thing. We don't get in their way. But when they are dealing with that embryo, we are there to make sure that everything is done in the most kosher fashion.
Amazing. For me, it was very important to do kosher process. I know not all Jewish need kosher process and what kosher process. But my team asks me all the time, why you need a kosher? Half people take it, half people not. Why donor cannot, if the retrieval will be on Shabbat, why we cannot do it? Why you want to do another day for injection, even if the eggs will be not good? even one person in the world will use this egg bank, any one kosher process, I think I will feel I did my job. It's not a matter how many people taking with seal, without seal, with Puah, without Puah. I'm a Jewish, and I opened the agency to protect my community. Even if I will do it for one person, that we have many retrievals together.
Yep. Well, I can tell you personally, you've helped way more than just one person.
I know.
For a fact. We've been to Britot, boys have been born, girls have been born, twins have been born. It is unbelievable to see the amount of babies that have been born with that knowledge and the awareness and the comfortability that it was done in a kosher way. The last thing anyone ever wants to worry about is that their children are illegitimate in any way, shape, or form. As we said earlier, the couples are going through such a difficult struggle, such an emotional journey.
Yeah.
For them to have to worry, in addition to that, about the Jewish status, the legitimacy of their children, we would never want that for anyone.
And this is my question. Do you have any message to those intended parents that see in this video right now, religious or not? They have so hard time right now. What to do, how to do,
Absolutely.
What is the right or not, who they can call and have advice. If you're religious or not,
Yeah.
What is the message you have to them?
My message to all of you, to everyone listening and watching this video, is never to give up, because the resources are available. The resources are available, and I can tell you firsthand, this resource, the chosen one, is a resource that is waiting for your phone call and is waiting to help you. And on a very personal level, Talia and I have dealt with cases. Some are easy, some are more complicated, everything in between. The care, the concern, and the dedication that the entire team at The Chosen One has for the couples to make sure that they can become parents in the kosher way, to continue the Jewish people, is something that Puah is proud and privileged to be a part of.
Wow, you make me emotional. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I wish everyone the best of luck.
Thank you. Last questions about Sefer Puah. Puah book. What you can tell us about this book, where people can buy it?
Sefer Puah there's a number of volumes of Sefer Puah, and it is a collection of all of the relevant halachot, Jewish law on this matter. It is literally a book which is a lifesaver, because people are looking for resources, they're looking for answers, they have so many questions, they want to know whether these questions have been discussed in the past, and the answer is yes. The amount of material and the amount of content that's in these books is literally one of its kind. There is nothing out there like it. We would like to translate it into English also. Right now, currently they're in Hebrew. We would like to translate it into English. Maybe it's a project we could do together, a manual of egg donation and halacha in English. But it's definitely something which is available online, and by checking out the Puah website, www.puahfertility.org, purchase books, it's right there. And everyone should feel free and encouraged to reach out to Puah for any resource, any halachic resource and a medical resource. And again, we wish you, both myself and Talia, we wish you the best of luck. Don't give up. Resources are available, they're out there, and they're waiting to help you.
I want to say thank you so much for your hard work. I know how hard you're working, and how your mashgichot, sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning they leave, and we have mashgichot here. How a big mitzvah, how you have the emunah. I think it's amazing. I think we are blessed to have Puah organization with us to help people, even financially, even supporting. I want to thank you, and if you can send this message to the all Rabbanim, the all Mashgichot. Thank you.
I definitely will. From our perspective, it is a blessing to be able to work for an organization like Puah. It's a blessing, it's a privilege to be able to work for an organization that helps broken people, broken couples, and to be able to bring light to such a dark place, to bring babies into the world. There is nothing like it. There's nothing like a couple who is unable to have a child and to be able to be a part, even a small part, of their success, to be able to bring that bundle of joy into their lives. We'll wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning any day for that. So it's an honor and a privilege to be able to work for such an organization. And thank you for everything that you do to allow us to be successful.
Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please contact Puah, contact us. We will be happy to assist you and to help you in every steps. Thank you.